Alec Baldwin was spotted out in New York City with his wife Hilaria and their babies Eduardo and Lucia on Tuesday. The actor, 63, was in charge of pushing the little ones along the sidewalk in a double stroller while Hilaria, 38, walked beside him with a cup of coffee in hand. The couple, who wed in 2012, share 6 children: Carmen, 8, Rafael, 6, Leonardo, 5, Romeo, 3, Eduardo, 1, and Lucia, 1. Lucia was conceived via surrogate, with Alec and Hilaria confirming her arrival in March 2021. Baldwin was bundled up in a black coat and had a scarf tied around his neck. The Beetlejuice star completed the casual ensemble with some comfy black pants and a pair of brown leather shoes. Hilaria covered up her lean figure with a lined Sherpa coat which she layered over a grey hooded sweatshirt. She donned a pair of baggy lavender sweatpants and slipped her feet into some pearl-adorned fuzzy slippers. The yoga instructor shielded her eyes with a pair of large black sunglasses and her brunette hair was worn down. Alec and Hilaria was captured chatting with one another while spending some time outdoors with their youngest children. The outing comes after Alec alleged that many of the individuals suing him over the fatal shooting of Rust cinematographer Halyna Hutchins are money-motivated. He also said that he is hopeful that he will not be found criminally responsible for Halyna's death, as per CNN footage from the actor's appearance at the Boulder International Film Festival, BIFF, in Colorado on Saturday, March 5. Hutchins, 42, was killed in October when a prop revolver Baldwin was rehearsing with during filming in New Mexico fired a live round that hit her in the chest. Director Joel Souza, 48, was also struck but survived. Alec was told the gun he brandished was cold, not loaded, and in a December interview said he did not feel guilty for Hutchins' death, because he didn't believe he was responsible. From the beginning, from the moment this happened, everybody has put out, besides all the anguish and the suffering, horrible feelings we have and, of course, there are 2 victims and nobody else is a victim, so to speak. We have dealt with a situation where specific people are not as interested in finding out what really happened, he told the festival audience. What you have is a certain group of litigants on whatever side, who their attitude is, well, the people who likely seem negligent have enough money. And the people who have money are not negligent, but we're not gonna let that stop us from doing what we need to do in terms of litigation. Baldwin added, why sue people if you're not going to get money? That's what you're doing. The actor, who was billed as a special guest programmer at the festival, did not specify which of the multiple suits filed after the shooting he was referring to. Baldwin also reiterated his claim of innocence during Saturday's interview, once again placing blame on armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, 24, who has said that she loaded the antique Colt .45 revolver with what she believed were dummy rounds. When someone whose job it is to ensure the safety of the weapon hands someone else whose job was to be the secondary layer of protection for safety and they hand it over to and you declare that that weapon is safe, that's how I've lived my whole life, the former 30 Rock star told interviewer and BIFF special event programmer Ron Bostwick. I've relied on the safety experts there to declare the gun is safe and hand me the gun. Never had a problem. He also said actors are not allowed to declare that a weapon is safe to use. You're not allowed as an actor to declare the weapon, Alec explained. I mean, the joke is, you don't want the actors doing the safety check. They can't even make coffee, they're so stupid. Additionally, Alec noted he is hopeful the investigation will reveal facts of his innocence and serve as a starting point to modify the safety regulations on film sets. "I'm very hopeful when the facts come out. We will not be held criminally responsible, but it has changed my life, and I don't mean this in the ordinary sense that I was involved in something or somebody passed," he said, according to The Hollywood Reporter. "I mean, I was involved in a situation with somebody was killed. It's changed my life just in terms of the function of weapons in films and television." He suggested that unions and other industry members engage in discussions to address new protocols surrounding weapons on set. The actor indicated there could be a shift to using plastic or weighted weapons, as well as in all likelihood an elimination of all live weapons in favor of CGI. Although, Alec argues that real guns remain in films because that's what audiences want. "The thing to remember is that guns are fired in films because that's what audiences want. Maybe not this crowd. Maybe not a festival crowd where you want to watch something that's a little more complicated," he said. "There's a place to modify the safety regulations we have to deal with, and I'm very much looking forward to our decisions." Before concluding the interview, Alec also spoke about Hutchins, whom he claimed was loved by people and admired. "This woman was a lovely woman, she was a lovely woman, and she was talented," he said of the late cinematographer. Since the shooting, Alec has returned to work. He is currently shooting an independent feature filmed in the U.S. titled 97 Minutes. In a recent Instagram post, he said detailed his return to acting, saying it was strange to be back at work. "We had our first day today, which is always tricky," he posted on February 7. "I don't work as much as I used to. I said this before maybe, but you go to work and you forget what you're supposed to do. I just was like, what do you do? What is acting or any of this nonsense I ended up doing? It's strange to go back to work." Meanwhile, Hutchins' husband, Matthew Hutchins, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Alec and about 24 other defendants, including Gutierrez Reed and assistant director David Halls, last month, claiming they disregarded standard industry practices meant to keep movie sets safe. These included failure to use a prop gun rather than a live weapon, a lack of individuals qualified to handle weapons on set at the time of the shooting, and lack of protective equipment for crew. The complaint alleges reckless behavior and cost-cutting led to the senseless and tragic death of Hina Hutchins. Matthew's attorney, Brian Panish, said his firm has conducted an independent investigation that uncovered numerous violations of industry standards by Alec and the other defendants named in the complaint. A 10-minute video created by Matthew's attorneys showed a 3D animated recreation of the shooting during a rehearsal in a church. It shows a computer-generated avatar representing Alec accepting the Colt gun from Halls, pointing it in Hutchins' direction, and firing. The animation shows that the bullet in the chamber was live and not a dummy with a hole drilled into it. The round strikes Hutchins, who clutches her chest and collapses in the video. The lawsuit also states, Hina Hutchins deserved to live, and the defendants had the power to prevent her death if they had only held sacrosanct their duty to protect the safety of every individual on a set where firearms were present instead of cutting corners on safety procedures where human lives were at stake, rushing to stay on schedule and ignoring numerous complaints of safety violations. The attorneys also claimed Alec had refused training for the kind of gun draw he was doing when he shot Hutchins. The complaint also claims that Alec never checked the gun himself for ammunition before using it. The suit also included a copy of a text message where a local camera operator made safety complaints to producers that there had been 3 unsafe weapons discharges and that the set was super unsafe. The unit production manager responded with callous sarcasm, according to the lawsuit. He said in response that it was awesome and sounds good. In response to the civil suit filed by Hutchins' family, Alec's lawyer Aaron Dyer said the actor should have been able to rely on the film's armorer, prop department and assistant directors to ensure the gun was safe to use. Matthew has also publicly shared his frustrations with the actor's refusal to take responsibility for his role in the shooting. He said essentially he felt grief but no guilt. Almost sounds like he was the victim, Matthew said in a Today interview last month. The idea that the person holding the gun and causing it to discharge is not responsible is absurd to me. The widower, who shared a 9-year-old son named Andros with Hutchins, his wife of 16 years, alleges at least 15 safety practices were disregarded on the set and argues that a wider cost-cutting culture ultimately led to Hutchins' death. But gun safety was not the only problem on that set. There were a number of industry standards that were not practiced and Terry's multiple responsible parties, he shared.